For today's theme, we have Lilith, and at the bottom of the deck is the Mystic Sisters. Sorry, I bumped the table. So I read through the descriptions of both of these cards, and I was getting a hunch that this has something to do with merging both parts of yourself. So when I think of Lilith, there's this tone of banishing and condemnation and shadow self, shadow aspects, judgments, rejection. These kinds of things come up. And in the spiritual community, a lot of women have reclaimed these aspects that they associate, I was going to say identify, but that they associate with Lilith, and they've reclaimed it. And so there's this feeling of merging back with these parts that you've disowned because of past judgment. Bullying just popped into my head. Maybe you were kind of like a weird kid, or you had really odd interests that have been kind of tucked into the corner of your subconscious, and you have decided that you don't want anything to do with it. Well, we have to go back and retrieve these parts to be able to show up authentically. Also, I shuffled from the Theta Waves deck, and I got decisions, layers, and then the Perseverance card came up again. So, okay. So with the decisions and layers card, overthinking came up. There is a lot of overthinking that I'm seeing is connected to the people-pleasing part of you. This people-pleasing part of you is an adaptation to some of the harsh judgments that you received in your past. And so I think so yesterday we were talking about things that we're avoiding. The thing that you're avoiding that is your medicine has something to do with your shadow self, or the thing that you casted away a long time ago. Maybe you're aware of this, maybe you're not. There might be something that's popping in your head that relates to this, but it's time to make more selfish decisions. And it's going to take a level of experimentation to know what that is, because this thing, for some of you, may be really, really tucked away. So it may take some digging and playing around to figure out like what you really want and what you're curious about. One thing that's popping in my head is looking back at like your childhood and the things that you used to like, or even bravely playing around with some of the things that you were judged for doing. I'm seeing like a weird way of dressing, a weird aesthetic, like, or if weird is kind of a triggering word, maybe quirky. You're a very like quirky person. And so this thing with Lilith is questioning too some of the societal norms, societal ideas of beauty. And again, it's reconnecting to like an aesthetic. Like maybe there is something unique about the way that you do your makeup, or the way you accessorize things. There's something maybe that you make that you can wear, like jewelry, or maybe you upcycle clothes or something like that, in a way that's really interesting. that is worth playing with. And again, I want to hone back in on like peeling back the layers of conditioning. And what's interesting too, I want to make a note about this if somebody relates to this. There's a lot of things that I've heard people say, certain words that they use, conditioning and programming, and I could intellectualize it, and sometimes it's hard to really understand how deep these things go. And once you do, then it all starts to click in the body. So I think that's where this layers card comes in, because it's kind of hard to fully understand what people are saying sometimes when they talk about programming or being inundated with a certain type of messaging of what's okay and what's not okay. And I say that in not like the obvious sense, like there is I don't know why I have to clarify that. I mean what's okay and what's not okay as far as like things that aren't going to harm other people, obviously. So yeah, you may be feeling as though you're very indecisive about doing certain things, and it feels like small things even too, like what do you want to eat today versus what you should eat today, and not following your intuition about that. What do I want to wear today? What should I wear today? Those little things come into your head. And just like I was saying with the last reading, I feel like you know what you want to do, but you're not sure. There's this voice inside you that's like, but am I allowed to do that? Is someone going to reprimand me for wearing these kinds of socks today, instead of like socks that match? Maybe you want to wear socks that don't match. And this could be literal or metaphor, but I don't know why I'm getting that analogy. It's like, is someone going to tell me if I wear socks that don't match, even though I feel like this looks kind of cool? So yeah, just as an example. That's a really funny example. And maybe, because this Lilith card is naked, and I was talking about sexuality in the last reading as well. Maybe there's this fear of overshadowing people, because the Lilith card talks about reclaiming a certain level of self-empowerment. So maybe there's this fear of showing up in a provocative way and making people feel uncomfortable, or saying things like saying your truth about something, and it being provocative, or looking sexy and worrying about how other people will feel, if you'll make other people feel small. There's this, like, it goes back to the people pleasing thing. There's this hesitation in shining too bright or showing up in a specific way that would make other people feel small and uncomfortable because you felt so small and uncomfortable for a long time. But that's not your responsibility to worry about. And again, it like keeps circling back again and again. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but a lot of these decisions that you're making are to make other people feel less insecure. Give me some context. What do we have here? Some context. Yeah, there's a sense of hiding, and it's you've been hiding for too long. You've been tucked away for too long. You've been held back for too long. It's the hiding is also cloaking the creative part of yourself, the childlike part of yourself. It's suppressing your inner child more. Um, and you've gotten, just like we talked about in the last reading, you've gotten a little bit too comfortable with a certain level of self-exploration. And so it's become too internalized. It's almost like the introvert that needs to go out. Maybe you're not the type of person to be around people a lot, but I feel like even the introvert needs to be outside every once in a while. That's kind of what I'm getting. And I don't feel like it means that you're actually an introvert, but it just feels like you're, what do they call it? It's almost like this level of stir craziness. Like an internalized stir craziness, like you've been cooped up inside yourself for too long. And there's a level of stagnancy. We have Wheel of Fortune, King of Wands in reverse, Hermit in reverse, and behind that, at the bottom of the deck, these are at the bottom of the deck, the Sun card is behind that Hermit in reverse, and we have the King of Pentacles upright. So there's like a level of stability and groundedness that seems to be mastered here, but there's no play, there's no fun. I'm getting this sensation of like your butthole being way too tight. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you need to play more, play around more, allow yourself to relax. It's almost also feeling like somebody who it needs a vacation, like you've been working really, really hard, to the point where you're not gonna, I feel like I'm repeating myself from yesterday, but it feels like you can only get so far with the way that you've been moving thus far. Like it feels like burnout is close by to an extent, and yesterday we were talking about balance as well. So there's a need to balance, like your need to feel responsible for everybody else. It almost feels like older sibling or eldest sibling energy. Like you feel responsible for everybody else. You can't relax. You can't let loose like everyone else because you're worried for everyone else. Because you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm also getting that no one asked you to do that to an extent. Like you can let it go. Like you can drop the roles you've assigned yourself. You can drop them and explore some other ones. There's this level too, because I think I mentioned earlier, like Lilith feels like the underworld a bit. There's this feeling, and I was getting this this connection to Persephone as well, but there's this feeling of a little bit of like an ego death towards the roles that you've always had to hold. And these roles are keeping you stagnant, and they're kind of making you like a buzzkill a little bit. There's a fun part of you, but you never let it out. And even like being a little bit overly serious about like inner work. It's like I'm also getting the image of like someone like gripping something really hard or holding on to something really, really tightly to the point of pain and self-injury. I'm just seeing it's just this feeling of tension in the body. So maybe a massage, bodies of water being by bodies of water, the sound of the ocean, something that's gonna relax you, being outside, clearly. Okay, we have an emotional regulation skill and interpersonal effectiveness skill. This is the card deck I got from Barnes & Noble's, the Dialectical Behavior Therapy Skills card. I am not a therapist. I just like to draw from the cards. I don't know. So 40 is observe body language. Most of what you tell another person is communicated non-verbally through your body. This feels like listening to the way that your body is feeling in circumstances around certain people, or even while you're thinking something, while you're overthinking. Is there a lot of tension in your body? Is there a way that you can create some sort of movement while you're trying to figure out something? And then we have observe yourself without judging yourself. These kind of go hand in hand. They're both talking about observing the body and observing yourself. Do your best to observe your emotions without judging them or judging yourself and others. Remember, it's okay to make changes in your life, and that doesn't mean you're bad or defective. It just means you want to be healthier. Acceptance and change, not acceptance or change. Try it today. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know how much room I have left on my phone. I'm so sorry if I repeated myself a lot today, but I also enjoy how it connects to yesterday. We're getting some answers, more information from yesterday's reading, so that's pretty cool. Or if you come across this randomly and you didn't even know that I did a reading yesterday, let me know if this still resonates. Awesome. Yeah, there's a level of play. Inviting back your childlike self. It's okay. I think, and I understand, there's a fear of being called childish, especially if you're an adult. These two king cards, it makes me feel like you're older, or you see yourself as older or mature. But even that feels like a role that you can just, this stale role that you can freeze yourself in. Like there's no development beyond like this position that you've placed yourself in. Like you always have to be the elder. This I don't know. It's just I need to relax. Okay, just one affirmation, please. Just one. This is so fun. What does this say? Do you want to read it yourself? I hope this isn't showing backwards. I am safe to be my true, authentic self. All right, I think we're done here for today. It's pretty where I am. Go outside. Maybe go outside without any kind of stimulation. Just let your mind wander like a child and see what comes up. Okay? Have fun.